Imagine waking up one morning. You step out of your cave, stretch, and there's a hairy elephant, bigger than your entire house, just casually walking past. No zoos, no fences, just pure, unfiltered Ice Age vibes. This, my friends, was the world of the woolly mammoth. And let me tell you, the Ice Age was absolutely unhinged. The woolly mammoth wasn't just a big, fluffy elephant. It was a walking, breathing winter tank. It was nature's masterpiece of survival. Picture this: a massive body covered from head to toe in a thick, shaggy coat of fur, sometimes over 3 feet long. Underneath that, a layer of finer, dense wool. And under that, a layer of fat several inches thick. This wasn't just for show. It was a state-of-the-art insulation system, allowing them to survive temperatures that would make your freezer feel like a tropical beach. Basically, this was an elephant that looked at a blizzard and said, "I'm built different." And those tusks, they weren't just for decoration. We're talking about massive, curved ivory spears that could grow up to 16 feet long. That's longer than some cars. These tusks were the ultimate multi-tool of the Pleistocene. They used them to fight off rivals, to defend their young from terrifying predators, and to sweep away snow and ice to find the frozen grass and shrubs buried underneath. They were a constant, visible reminder to every other creature on the tundra of who owned this frozen land. Now, let's talk about sheer size, because it's hard to wrap your head around. A full-grown male woolly mammoth could stand over 13 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh up to 6 tons. To put that in perspective, that's like stacking 4 average-sized cars on top of each other, and then making them angry. When a mammoth walked, the ground literally shook. They were mountains of muscle, fat, and fur, moving across the vast, empty plains of the Ice Age. So why on earth would our early human ancestors decide to hunt these things? It certainly wasn't because it was easy. They hunted mammoths because a successful hunt meant survival on a scale nothing else could offer. Imagine you're an Ice Age human. You've got a sharpened stick, maybe some flint-tipped spears. No metal, no armor, no rifles. And you see one of these 6-ton behemoths coming toward you. The risk was astronomical. One wrong move, one misplaced step, and you wouldn't just be injured. You'd be a footnote in your family's history. It was the ultimate high-risk, high-reward scenario. But the reward? A single mammoth could provide enough meat to feed an entire tribe for weeks, even months. The hide would be used for clothing and shelter. The bones and tusks were carved into tools, weapons, and even art. One mammoth could mean the difference between starving in the cold and thriving until the next season. It wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. And here's the thing. Humans weren't the only ones interested in a mammoth steak dinner. The Ice Age was basically a giant, terrifying crossover episode of the deadliest predators imaginable. You had saber-toothed cats with fangs like daggers, strong enough to take down large prey. You had packs of dire wolves, bigger and more powerful than any wolf alive today. And you had the short-faced bear, a colossal predator that could stand nearly 12 feet tall on its hind legs and could run down a horse. Everyone wanted a piece of the mammoth. The young, the old, the sick, they were all targets. For a mammoth calf, life was a constant battle for survival, shadowed by predators from the moment it was born. Yet, amidst all this danger and brutality, mammoths weren't just mindless beasts roaming the tundra. They were highly intelligent and social animals. Much like modern elephants, they lived in complex family groups, led by a wise, experienced matriarch. These herds were tight-knit communities. The mothers were fiercely protective of their calves, forming a defensive ring around the young whenever danger approached. They communicated with each other through a series of deep rumbles and calls, coordinating their movements and warning of threats. There's even evidence to suggest they mourned their dead. Skeletons have been found that show signs of being visited by other mammoths long after death. They were giant, fluffy family units, navigating a harsh world together. And what a world it was! The Ice Age wasn't just a little chilly. We're talking about vast, continent-spanning ice sheets, brutal ice storms, and relentless, biting winds. The landscape was a stark, windswept steppe tundra, a far cry from the lush forests and grasslands we know today. But the mammoth didn't just survive in this environment. It thrived. It was perfectly adapted. That thick fur and fat kept it warm. Its small, furry ears minimized heat loss. Even its blood had special properties, like a form of natural antifreeze, to keep it flowing in the extreme cold. Nature had spent thousands upon thousands of years upgrading this animal, turning it into the undisputed king of the frozen world. But then, everything started to change. The planet began to warm up. The colossal ice sheets that had dominated the northern hemisphere for millennia started to retreat. The climate shifted dramatically. The vast, cold, dry grasslands that mammoths depended on for food began to shrink, replaced by forests and wetlands. Their food source was literally disappearing from under their massive feet. And as the mammoth's world was shrinking, the world of humans was expanding. Humans weren't just surviving anymore. They were becoming incredibly sophisticated hunters. They developed better tools, like the atlatl, a spear thrower that allowed them to hunt from a safer distance with greater force. They developed complex strategies, using the landscape to trap herds and working together with deadly efficiency. The combination of a changing climate and a new, highly effective predator was a one-two punch that the mammoths couldn't recover from. Their decline wasn't a sudden, traumatic event. There was no single final battle. It was a slow, tragic fade. Year after year, there were just fewer herds, fewer calves surviving to adulthood. The vast plains that once thundered with their footsteps grew quieter. Until one day, there were none left. The last isolated populations held on for a while on remote islands, but eventually, they too vanished. The giants of the Ice Age had walked the earth for hundreds of thousands of years, and then they were gone, fading into history and memory. Today, their legacy is frozen in time. We find their bones, their tusks, and sometimes even their entire bodies, perfectly preserved in the permafrost of Siberia. These frozen mummies are incredible time capsules, allowing scientists to study their DNA, their last meals, and the world they lived in. And this has led to one of the most exciting and controversial ideas in modern science: die extinction. Scientists are seriously talking about the possibility of bringing the woolly mammoth back to life. Can you imagine that headline? Breaking news. Humanity immediately regrets decision to resurrect 6-ton fuzzy tank. The woolly mammoth ruled a frozen world long before there were cities, before there were kings, before history was ever written down. They were a testament to the power of adaptation and the raw, untamed force of nature. Giants once walked this earth, and their epic story is one that truly deserves to be remembered. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn about more incredible Ice Age creatures, make sure to follow.